When Noah Rains walked into the therapy center that morning, he wasn't just another client. His presence shifted the air, commanding, elegant, and yet heavy. The kind of man who carried the world's weight and still pretended it didn't hurt. But that day, it wasn't his pain that brought him here. It was his daughter's. I was used to seeing children in distress. As a child behavioral therapist, I'd spent years helping little hearts find their calm again. But when he said his daughter hadn't spoken a word in 6 months, not since her mother's death, my heart sank a little deeper than usual. "She has nightmares," he said, voice steady but eyes trembling. "She wakes up screaming, won't eat, won't talk, won't let anyone near her, except maybe you." I frowned softly. "Except me? Mr. Rains, we've never met." He hesitated, looking at me like he was seeing a ghost. "You remind her of someone. I think it's her mother." That caught me off guard. I didn't know how to respond to the pain in his tone, how grief could sound so controlled and raw at once. His daughter Lily peeked from behind him, big blue eyes, fragile as glass. She held a tiny stuffed rabbit, its ear nearly torn off, clutching it like a lifeline. When I knelt and smiled, she didn't run. She didn't speak either, but she didn't turn away. That was something. "Hi, Lily," I said softly. "I'm Clara." Her tiny fingers gripped the rabbit tighter. "Mommy," she whispered. Noah froze. His breath caught audibly. My chest tightened. "No, sweetheart," I said gently. "But your mom must have been really kind if you think I'm like her." From that day on, our sessions became her small world. She wouldn't speak much, but she drew a lot. Pictures of a house, a swing, a woman with brown hair and soft eyes. Sometimes I'd catch Noah lingering outside the therapy room, watching, not with arrogance, but with the kind of exhaustion that comes when you've fought too many battles alone. One afternoon, as I packed up crayons, he asked, "How do you get her to talk?" "She doesn't," I said. "She just listens, and sometimes that's enough." He smiled faintly, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You're the only one who can calm her," he murmured, almost to himself. Something in the way he said it made my stomach tighten, not out of fear, but recognition. A strange familiarity I couldn't place. That evening, when I was locking up, I found him waiting by the doorway. Rain poured outside, soaking his tailored coat, but he didn't seem to care. "Clara," he said, voice low. "Can we talk?" I hesitated. "Of course. Is Lily okay?" "She's better when you're around, happier." He looked at me like he was searching for words he'd lost years ago. "But there's something I need to tell you before this goes any further." I nodded, though my chest felt heavy. He took a deep breath. "My wife Lily's mother was in a car accident last year. The driver fell asleep at the wheel. The woman she hit." He stopped. His throat moved, his hands clenched. I waited. "She didn't survive, but the driver was you." The world tilted. The sound of the rain outside grew deafening. I stared at him, unable to breathe. "That's impossible," I whispered. "I've never—" He nodded, pain flickering in his eyes. "You don't remember. You were in the hospital for months. Head trauma, memory loss. You moved cities afterward, changed your last name. Clara isn't your real name." My heart pounded so hard it hurt. Memories flickered, flashes of glass, sirens, a child's scream, the kind of fragments you spend years burying. He stepped closer, voice breaking. "I didn't want you to find out like this, but when Lily saw you and calmed for the first time in months, I realized fate had already decided." Tears burned my eyes. "You knew who I was, from the start?" He nodded slowly. And yet, I couldn't hate you. Not when I saw what you did for her. The silence between us felt like it could split the air. Rain pounded against the windows, as if the world itself refused to breathe until one of us spoke. I killed your wife? My voice broke on the word killed. It didn't sound like mine, it trembled, small, hollow. Noah's eyes softened. You didn't kill her, Clara. It was an accident. You were driving home from your late shift. It was raining that night, too. She lost control. First you swerved to avoid her. You both went off the road. My knees gave way. He caught me before I could fall, his hands steady on my shoulders. You've carried guilt without even knowing it, he whispered. Maybe that's why Lily found peace in you. Maybe some part of her remembers what your heart was before that night. I could barely see through the tears. Images flooded back headlights, a scream, the unbearable sound of shattering glass. And then nothing. I don't deserve her trust, I whispered. Or yours. He shook his head. You don't get to decide that. She does. Behind him, a soft voice broke through the storm. Mommy. Lily stood in the hallway, holding her rabbit, eyes wide but calm. She walked slowly toward me, her small feet silent on the polished floor. When she reached me, she lifted her hand and placed it on my cheek. It's okay, she said softly. You're safe now. Noah's breath hitched. I covered her hand with mine, trembling. You remember that night, don't you? She nodded, tears in her eyes. I remember Mommy saying it's not her fault. That shattered me. Every wall, every fragment of the person I'd built. After the accident, it all broke. Noah crouched beside us, his voice low, shaking. When I saw you again, I thought it was some cruel twist of fate. But then I saw how she smiled for the first time in months, and I knew maybe it was grace instead. He looked at me, then not as a man who'd lost, but as one who was learning to forgive. I didn't ask you to stay in our lives because I wanted to punish you. I asked because maybe we both needed to heal. Lily's small hand reached for his, then mine, bringing them together. Can we be a family now? She whispered. The words wrapped around my heart like a promise. Noah looked at her, then at me. We already are, he said softly. The rain eased outside, the sky slowly clearing as if it too had finally let go. Weeks passed. The therapy room no longer echoed with silence, it hummed with Lily's laughter. She spoke freely now, sometimes even about her mother, but without pain, just warmth. And every time she ran into my arms, Noah would watch quietly from the doorway, his expression no longer haunted, just grateful. One evening, as the sun painted gold across the glass, Noah approached me. You've given her back her voice, he said. I smiled faintly. She gave me back my life. He hesitated, then took my hand. You're the only one who could calm her, Clara. Maybe. Because you were meant to calm me too. I looked into his eyes, those storm-gray eyes that once carried sorrow, and saw something else there now. Peace. Sometimes forgiveness doesn't come like thunder. It comes like rain soft, patient, healing. And sometimes the ones we're meant to save are the same ones who save us.